See how it sound? A little unrational. See how it sound? A little unrational. See how it sound?
Hey yo, what up? This is the almighty Proclaim at ProclaimCreations.com. Give it up to my boys Rook and Sapient, the rational responders coming to you live and direct.
This is Ray Comfort, and you're listening to the Rational Response Squad.
And welcome to a very special segment of the Rational Response Squad. I am Rook Hawkins, and of course, as always, is Brian Sapient. Hi, Brian.
How you doing, Rook?
And we have two very special guests with us, Jake from the Atheist Network.
Hello.
Doubledoh from the Rational Response Squad website design team.
Yo, yo, yo.
We're going to discuss here as atheism being a belief, as it's been brought up a lot because of the war on Easter. What are your opinions on that, Brian?
I heard Kevin the Pragmaticist make many arguments about this over the last few weeks, that atheism is a belief, mostly because atheism is a conglomeration of different beliefs that lead up to atheism. In other words, I believe that there isn't enough evidence for a God, so therefore atheism is a belief. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really makes no sense at all. Theism is a positive assertion that there is a God. Atheism is the lack of that assertion, is the absence of that same belief. All babies are born absent of that belief, yet they don't have a believe in no God. They are absent of that belief. They are atheists. How about you, Jake? What do you think?
Well, the only way that atheism can be a belief is how you define belief. If you define belief as just any coherent thought that you have that you agree to or even disagree to, then atheism is going to be a belief. But if you define belief as something that you hold as positive, in other words, is if you say you believe in something, then atheism is not a belief because there's nothing to believe in. Now, one would argue that atheism is a belief because you are believing that there is no God. My argument is that's not really a belief. That's the lack of a belief. That's the absence of a belief. Now, how I have come to that determination through my knowledge is different than belief. In other words, I can come to a determination that theism is wrong based upon my knowledge, and therefore I can reject the belief that theism is true. But if I say that I agree with it, then obviously I've gained the belief. I like to put it into a very simple way for people. I like to say it like this: look, if someone comes to me and I have no belief in a God, I'm at zero beliefs in a God. If someone says to me, "Oh, God exists," and I look at their evidence and I accept it, then I have gained a belief. I'm at +1. If I look at their evidence and I reject it, well, I'm no more off than I was at the beginning, so I remain at 0. Now, people could say, yes, but you've gained knowledge. Yeah, I've gained knowledge that of this rejection, that this thing isn't true. Absolutely. But belief is not knowledge, and there's quite a difference.
I agree with you 100%, Jake, and I think that's where agnosticism would fall into play. People like to use agnosticism as a middle ground, and but the fact of the matter is, as we've all discussed this before many times on different boards and even on the show, it's really a modifier to the term atheism or theism, and I think that, as you stated there, Gnosticism would be the appropriate usage of terms, not belief. You would discuss knowledge, so therefore you would have some sort of gnosis or an agnosis of what's going on, not necessarily a belief. So
that's what happens when someone says, "Look, this thing exists," or "There is a God." Okay, well, you ask them, how do you know that there's a God? How have you determined there's a God? Now, what happens is that because theists have faith, which is basically wishful thinking, it's the belief in things not seen, they automatically make a sidestep from what they know to what they believe. They start saying, well, because of this thing, and because of this thing, this is why I believe. They really have no basic knowledge. So when you're rejecting belief, when you're rejecting the theist belief, what you're doing is you're rejecting that knowledge, or not even that knowledge, that is, they really don't have any. You're rejecting their suppositions. You're rejecting their hypothesis. That doesn't mean you've gained anything. Someone would say, "Oh, well, you've gained the belief that that the Christian God, for example, doesn't exist." To which I would say, no, I'm no farther off than I was before the Christian God was explained to me. Except, in the stance that I have knowledge now that thing doesn't exist. So yeah, it's about atheism and agnosticism. They're not mutually exclusive. An atheist agnostic, someone says, "I don't believe that a God exists," but who knows? There could be. I don't really know. I don't have any knowledge. A theist agnostic is someone says, "I believe that a God exists, but I don't know how, and I don't know for sure."
Yeah, it's a very important. It's a very important distinction to make, because in this country, there are so many people who claim to be agnostic, as if that's some sort of middle ground between theism and atheism, that they don't know if there's a God, so they don't, they don't have a belief in one. Well, that when they make that statement, I don't know if there's a God, so I don't have a belief in one. Well, that's the first part says, well, I don't know if there's a God, therefore agnostic. The second part says, so I don't have a belief in one. That is atheism. An agnostic can either believe in God, that therefore being theist, or not have that belief. If they are absent of that positive belief, they are an atheist. That is the definition. If you look up the Oxford English Dictionary of atheism, it says one who disbelieves or denies the existence of God. Not somebody who denies the existence of God, but somebody who disbelieves or denies the existence of God. And when you look up the word disbelieve, you find that it's not having a belief. It is you can either believe something or disbelieve it. You can't something in the middle of believe and disbelieve. And so it's rather simple.
Right.
If atheism is a belief and theism is a belief, okay, then what would you call the lack of belief in a God or gods? So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that atheism means lack of belief in a God or gods, and then say atheism is a belief. Yeah, it's self-contradictory.
I actually like turning it around and saying, if atheism is the belief that there is no God, then theism is the disbelief that there is no God. Therefore, theism is not a belief. If they really want to get silly on us and try to tell us what we believe and don't believe, I'd be fine to do the same thing right back.
Let's take it a step further now, and I would like to make the point that you don't really know of something if you don't really have any knowledge of it. You can't really have belief in it either. I mean, as we were talking about prior to this segment, Doubledoh had made the statement that for in the case of strong atheism, that there was the fact that since there's no actual definition for a God that's non-contradictory, that there's no reason to believe or even regard that claim because it's contradictory as a definition as it is. So if there's really no way to have a positive definition of a God that's non-contradictory, you can't really know of that being, and therefore you can't really believe in that being because you have no knowledge to begin with of what that being is. So, if you
that's where faith comes in. That's where they start claiming faith. They start claiming faith that, well, that's what faith is a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of evidence, but believing anyway. And, what I like to do is I like to replace the word faith with wishful thinking, because it really puts it into the correct context. They want to claim that faith is some kind of thing for which they can use to determine knowledge, but you ask them, well, what else have you determined exists based upon the same criteria? And they have absolutely no answer. That's a question I just got through asking on the Atheist Network message boards to a theist just today. I said, give me one example of something that you've determined exists, that you know exists, based on the same criteria you have that you've determined God exists. And not one theist over the 5 years I've been asking that question has ever been able to give me a coherent answer. And the simple reason is because they believe because they want to believe. Now, an atheist doesn't disbelieve because he wants to disbelieve. He disbelieves based upon the evidence that's given to him, or the lack thereof in this case. So comparing the two and saying both are a belief, it just seems kind of just self-contradictory. If atheism is the belief that there is no God, and theism is the belief that there is a God, what do you call someone who has a lack of belief in a God? Well, an atheist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're preaching to the choir on that one. I can't give you an answer.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
I'm waiting for
horse?
I'm waiting for the Christian to perk up, and there isn't one on the line right now. So we'll have to allow them to respond on the message boards. Hey, Jake, it's been great having you on. We're going to let you go so you can get back to the
thanks
family
a lot,
there.
Brian. I appreciate it. And good luck with the discussion.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
No problem.
For those of you that want to catch a little bit more of Jake's work, you can check out atheistnetwork.com. There's a great site over there, great forums, little tight-knit community over there. And, we've loved Jake for many years now. He's like a hero to us. So
that's where we met, actually. So
yes, exactly. That is where we all met. So that is where it all started.
I am Luigi Gascioli, and I am suing the Catholic Church in Italy. You are listening to Rational Response Squad.
Dun dun.
So, Doubledoh, did you have anything to say about atheism being a belief?
Yeah, first of all, I think just the use of the word belief is sort of an abuse by the religious community. Like if I say, I believe that this supermarket has some eggs and some milk in the fridge there when I go to the store, I think that's probably a better use of the word belief, because there's actually some evidence behind that, because I've gone to the store before and I've seen the milk and I've seen the eggs there. I think it would be a more accurate term if people used like I imagine this or I hope for this, because there is absolutely zero evidence for any kind of religious, I hate to use the word belief now, but yeah, there is no evidence for it. And I just think it's absurd that we even lend anyone credit by saying by letting them say, I believe this, or I believe that. It's like, well, I believe in invisible pink unicorns, and you would laugh at me. Why aren't we allowing people to openly laugh at people that abuse terms like I believe in God, or I believe in this figure that hung on a cross for 3 days? It just seems kind of like a massacre of the English language and a dilution of our ability to communicate accurately.
Speaking of believing that a man was on a cross and then rose from the dead, we're committing a war on Easter right now. I think it's important to tell the people out there, we need your help. We need your involvement because what we're trying to do is we're trying to spread a little truth to those who believe in myth. And while you might be saying to yourself, well, you have no proof that what you're saying is 100% conclusive, I would say that all three of us could make pretty solid arguments for the fact that the biblical version of the God is not possible. This idea that God created, had a perfect plan, and then he somehow needed to have Jesus Christ come back to save everybody, to fix this plan. The whole idea is just absurd. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get copies of Brian Fleming's hit movie. It's currently ranked #1 on Amazon.com's bestseller list, The God Who Wasn't There. We're trying to get copies of his movie into the hands of those who believe in Jesus Christ. And the best way to do that is, of course, to go to church. And what we would love for you to do, if you have a copy of The God Who Wasn't There movie, please put it out at your local church. Attend Mass if you need to. Go to church, take your DVD, maybe stick it inside the Bible, maybe put it behind the Bible in the hymnals. Maybe there's maybe there's an alcove there where people are lighting candles. You can probably place one right there if you want to put it maybe on the holy water. And if you'd like, what you should do is you should go to waroneaster.org. You could print out some flyers. If you print out flyers and you post the DVD somewhere in the church and you take pictures of this, you will not only receive a replacement copy from Brian Fleming, but you will receive a replacement copy inscribed with the greeting of your choice. He'll tell you that he loves you probably if you ask him nice. So that could likely be worth money someday. That remains to be seen. So and if you just place the DVD, you will get a replacement copy. Brian promises a replacement copy to anybody who places the DVD in a church. If you don't own the DVD,
and takes a photo, of course.
yeah, if you don't own the DVD, you don't have to buy it. You can simply place flyers in multiple locations, and all of this information is at waroneaster.org. Go to www.waroneaster.org, click How to Join, and you will find information on exactly how you can earn your video there. While you're at waroneaster.org, take a note. Bottom right-hand side is a little picture of a T-shirt that says, I support the War on Easter. Those were designed by Doubledoh, on the phone with us right now, and all proceeds go to the cause here. Doubledoh has agreed to donate all proceeds from the sale of that shirt to the cause so that every shirt sold will get one more Christian another DVD. We will get more than 666 copies out. And little secret here, not many people know about this, but we are creating right now perpetual war. We are starting perpetual war. This will not end. In fact, it will end. It will end when Christianity ends. And so for years to come, however long it takes, we will get these DVDs into their hands. Maybe they'll see this DVD 5 times before they actually decide to watch it, but we're not going to give up. Okay, because we care about them, and there's no reason that they should go through their life living a lie, basing their life on something that's been handed down to them by somebody who didn't know better. It's just unfair. It's not right. It's time
to end that chain right now.
Yeah, it's time to stop it.
And if you want to hear more about what Brian Fleming has to say on the War on Easter, you can always go to our homepage at rationalresponders.com and listen to the 15-minute segment. And it's worth the 15 minutes. Trust me.
I heard something interesting to those who are saying something like, you guys are real jerks for posting, these flyers and DVDs in churches. Well, it should be noted that Martin Luther, okay, was said to have posted 95 theses on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany on October 31st of 1517. Some scholars have questioned the accuracy of this account. This is from Wikipedia, I'm reading right now. Some scholars have questioned the accuracy of this account, noting that no contemporary evidence exists for it. Others have countered that no such evidence is necessary because this action was the customary way of advertising an event on a university campus of Luther's day. Church doors functioned very much as bulletin boards function on a 21st century college campus. So, the saying goes, in 1517, Martin Luther tries to rid Christianity of obviously corrupt practices. In the year 2006, Beyond Belief Media, Brian Fleming, and the Rational Response Squad volunteer to try to rid Christianity of obviously delusional ideas through the exact same methods.
Amen.
Visit us at www.rationalresponders.com. Thank you for joining us on this short little segment of a show here. Hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe to our shows. Thanks a lot, Doubledoh, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the t-shirts. Thank you very much for the work you put into the site.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing more of you and hearing more from you, too.